reality is a relatively disturbing experience. You know? So we do our best to kind of, you know, wiggle in, get comfortable, kind of burrow under the pillows, you know, and we do that by creating our maps, right? And it's not so much that the world, the discomfort kind of the world brings is real primary experience. It's raining, you get wet. So you go inside, you know, you find shelter. You're stepping off a curb, a bus is coming at you, you fear, you jump back. It's pretty spontaneous and immediate. But these maps, you know, they can cause a lot of discomfort, right? If you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're, you know, you have a lot of stress, it's because of the way that this map is generating it. So we understand that this notion of having our maps, it goes kind of back to that quote from Richard Bandler. He's fond of saying that there's one thing that people value more than survival, which is familiarity. In other words, they're maps, right? So you have these, I mean, all over the world. You have people embracing their map to the sacrifice of their own aliveness, sometimes to the sacrifice of other people. But it's this thing of projecting, acting out of the map and the map becoming primary, right? As opposed to responding to the world. This is a very interesting thing. See, for example, these things about, you know, these other filters that we generate through life, beliefs and generalizations about life and the world and self, values, what's important to us, criteria, right? How we achieve those values or what those values are composed of. Those are all filters that once they're structured in the map, this raw sense data comes in, and then we're familiar with our senses, but then these beliefs and generalizations modulate what we perceive to make it comfortable. Right? I mean, humans tend to be oriented towards a degree of, well, whatever it is that drives them, comfort, happiness. Some people, though, are oriented towards power and dominance. They have different kinds of beliefs. We understand enough about psychology and how we work that if something really intense happens when you're young, right, it can stick with you a long time because it's what contributes to these major filters in life. You know, if you grow up in a house and you're abused, you know, mom and dad don't love you, and you know, I mean, real violent kinds of interactions, you form beliefs about the world, even though when you're 40, you're successful, nice house, nice wife. If that has affected your beliefs, it affects who you are when you're 40, probably. So a lot of NLP is going deeper into the skill of the map maker. How does this human being actually create these? You know, in addition to their 5 senses, in addition to these beliefs, et cetera, what are the real fine map-making tools that we use to create our maps of reality? And how, once we discover what those tools are, how can we use them to shift the maps that are limiting to us? So again, that's a sort of a big frame on the answer of what is NLP. And what we'll notice in an ongoing way as we explore this world is that there's a real logic to the flow of life that winds up in who we are now, right? And yet we're not bound by that. There are ways to affect these, you know, previous causes that we think creates us in the moment so that we can change our life, instead of just it being this inertia that carries us on. The reason for this is the slippery nature of time. Because our past and our future, everybody kind of agree that their past had a great influence on who they are, right? And that what they do today is going to have a pretty, you know, it's going to have an influence on how you turn out in the future. What you do today is going to affect that. Okay? Right now in the moment, this is, as they say in Hawaii, this is the moment of power. Because for you in the moment, there is no past, there is no future. There's only your map of the past and your map of the future. So if you have this sense that you are a way you want to change, let's say, you're aware that you have limiting beliefs or bad memories or whatever from your past, right? That past is in here in this moment. In other words, what it is, it's kind of like you're going in your neurology and you're going down to the map room and you're popping up an experience. And then it's like an anchor, just like your folks when you're comparing photographs. You look at it, it makes you feel bad, let's say, or sort of devalued or whatever as you look at that. What you begin to realize, as I was saying earlier, is that you change your maps all the time. You take your own wisdom and your awareness, this past sense that event, you restructure the map that you've got on file. You update it from 1938 to 2007, and suddenly, essentially the same experience has a totally different effect here. So the neat thing about NLP is that subjective experience and what's going on in here is in a sense timeless, but it uses the metaphor of time to produce results.